Hi, fam. My name is Mercy Ramapia, and I'm your host for today's podcast. But before introducing the guest, I'd like to share something small. I know we don't wake up in the morning thinking, we don't make any plans, but today something is going to change. We've all had those moments where we've lost someone so dear to us, or an unexpected illness, or even financially, you've gone broke. But today, this is where planning comes in for us. So I have here with me Aaron and Cancer Watson and Nana Owari. Hi guys.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning?
Good. Oh, thank you.
Okay. So today we are talking about planning. So now when we talk about planning, what comes into your mind?
Okay, so planning in the face of life insurance, what it simply means is anticipating that something unexpected, something you've not thought of could occur. We all wake up, as you rightly said, thinking that everything is going to go well. We will send our children to school. We'll get them to eat. We get them to sleep. We wake up another morning. There may be a day that the children may go to school and the news will be a different story. Either they get home and father couldn't come home because of an accident or because of an illness, or the parents could be in the office and gets a call. The child is ill. He rushes to the hospital. The child is in a condition that unfortunately cannot be saved. All these are events that occur. And as humans, as parents, as individuals, we need to plan for these things. Why do we need to plan? So that it doesn't catch us unawares. They are life issues, they occur, and there's little we can do about them. So when we're planning, one of my favorite quotes is the Titanic was built specifically not to be destroyed or specifically not to sink. But the manufacturer still thought of putting lifeboats around it. Why would the manufacturer say that I'm building this indestructible ship and still have in mind that let me put lifeboats just in case? So in life, as long as we are waking up, we don't say that everything will go well. Just in case something doesn't go well, then what is our next line of action? That is what planning is all about. And that is what life insurance is all about.
Very true. Aaron, do you have anything to add up?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what I have to say is that life is full of uncertainties, right?
Okay.
We know that certain things are certain things will definitely happen in life. For instance, when we speak of the issue of death, we all know that everybody living on this earth, probably with the exception of rapture, everybody's going to die at some point.
Yeah.
But the point is that to what extent, how old do we know when it would happen or how it would happen? That's an uncertainty. And that's the reason we plan our lives. It is simply just putting in plans or contingencies, like Nana said, to help or to aid you when the unexpected happens. And I think that every smart person would want to do that for themselves. It's just you trying to put things in place so that if something happens one way or the other, it would aid you or would help you. So personally, one of my favorite quotes when it comes to planning says that when you fail to plan, it's like you actually sitting down and planning to fail. So I think it's something everybody has to consider at some point in their life.
Very nice. Okay. So with what you've said so far, when does life insurance come in?
Life insurance comes in the moment you start living.
Okay.
Why would I say the moment you start living? At which point are you now responsible for your life as an individual?
Okay.
When you've started earning an income, when you have dependents on you, people depend on your income. If your income should stop today, will people suffer? Will people go hungry? Will people's medical bills not be paid? At this point, you need to have a life insurance.
So, yeah, rightly said. I think that the moment you have any form of dependence, then you need a life insurance. If you have people that look up to you, there are people you take care of. If you're a breadwinner, then you require a life insurance, because one of the things we say is that you don't get life insurance mainly because people will die. You have life insurance because others will live. So if you're no more, what happens to the people that depend on you? And that's a basic reason for getting a life insurance policy.
So that means it's beyond the payouts. It's actually about the security and the protection.
Absolutely. So I know that typically in Ghana, when we speak about life insurance, people think it's just about death. But I mean, I think it's a matter of education. Life insurance isn't always just about it. There are living benefits to life insurance. But just like you said, people buy life insurance for different reasons. One of it is mainly to have peace of mind. So I'm buying insurance today, knowing very well that should anything happen to me, my family or dependents are secured. Others buy it for just to leave a legacy for their children or for their family. So there are different reasons for buying life insurance, and it definitely goes beyond just it.
I see.
Wonderful. And also, life insurance is a statement of love.
Okay.
If you care about someone, if you love someone, you must have a life insurance. One reason I would say this is you will not have somebody depending on you whilst you are alive and whilst you're moving about.
Okay.
And the person suffering when you are no more, or when you are disabled or you are incapacitated. Life insurance is saying that I care so much about someone that the day my income ceases because I can't work again, those people should continue living.
Okay.
So why would you sit and say that I don't need a life insurance, or life insurance is something that I'll take at an old age?
Okay.
As you are now, somebody is counting on your income.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to go to school. Somebody needs to feed. Somebody's medical bills needs to be paid.
Yeah.
Somebody very close to you may be involved in an accident and will need financial support.
Yeah.
That is not when you want to use your investments. That's not when you want to use your savings. The savings is for something very good.
Okay.
A business you want to start up or expand, a building you want to put up, your education, all those are what we do savings and investments for. But the uncertainties of life,
Okay.
yourself being injured or a loved one being injured, yourself being prolonged ill or a loved one being prolonged ill, losing a good loved one or someone very close to you, a parent, a sibling, a spouse, a children.
Okay.
All these are events that will now come and tap onto the savings or investments if you do not have a life insurance. So life insurance is actually a backup that will give you security or peace of mind that your investments and your savings can also be secured.
I see. But then, do we have any tailored plans for individuals, families, and businesses? I hear you say loved ones. I think I did hear you also say about businesses, but do we have something specific for individuals, families, and business, or they come together?
Absolutely. I mean, so what happens is in all of my experience, I realize that there's no one size fits all plan when it comes to insurance. So there are diverse packages. And if you're aware, Glyco really kind of operates like a family system. Glyco is a family. And because of that, we are very, very concerned about not just the individual, but the individual and their family.
Okay.
So personally, one of such packages that we have for me is our family life comprehensive plan.
Okay.
So, like as we mentioned earlier, it's about you planning and putting a contingency in place for your family. So this is a package where you can actually put yourself, your spouse on there. Yourself and your spouse, make your children as beneficiaries. So should anything happen to you, when I say anything, there are three main covers there. So it covers you against death, total permanent disability, critical illness. Should any of these incidents happen, there's a payout. So what really happens is that as you go about your daily lives, you, your family, you're all insured, you're all covered. And should anything happen along the line, there's a payout for your beneficiaries or the people you leave behind. And I think that's basically the whole idea.
Okay.
Like we keep mentioning, it's about family. It's about you taking care of your loved ones.
Yeah.
So if you're the breadwinner, something happens, your spouse, your children are taken care of. So there are diverse ones. I'll allow my brother to just give us.
So life insurance comes in 4 major categories or 4 major types. So depending on the insurance, there are 4 major types of life insurance. So depending on your need, depending on what area you want to look at, there's a specific life insurance that can be taken for you.
Okay.
Glyco, we have about 7 products that fits all needs. So whether you want to insure your parents, whether you want to insure your spouse, your children's education, whether you even want to protect a mortgage facility or a credit facility you have, we have life insurances catering for all these things. So what is your need? What area do you need to touch on? Where do you want to show love? Where would somebody suffer the most? And one of the things I normally like for those of us who are living in mortgage homes, we know very well that if we do not have a life insurance or we don't have a mortgage protection plan, which is a life insurance package, and we are no more or we're unable to pay our mortgage, our families are going to lose the property that we've started or we're living in. So why not have a life insurance plan? That will give you that peace of mind that if anything should happen to you, the breadwinner, your family can continue enjoying the home that you have started for them. So life insurance is in various forms.
There's a myth, okay, that life insurance is just for elderly or wealthy people. How true is that?
I mean that is very right. In our engagement with customers and clients out there, people always say, "Oh, and I'm too young to have a life insurance. I'm too young." But you see, the truth is that life is very. Again, I mentioned life insurance about uncertainties. Yeah? And these days we see the young dad, the old dad. So there's nothing like it's just for. And as we rightly said, we are looking at planning for future uncertainties.
Okay.
And when it comes to plan, I don't think there's anything like the elderly or the young people plan. The elderly also plan. So I think it's more important. It's more of you just understanding, like Nana said, what your need is and what your long term or short term goals are. That determines how well you plan with life insurance. For instance, talk of planning, we all have plans. Yours might be to get married. Someone might be to buy a property, to buy a house, to travel the world. With all of that, there are insurances that are tailored for these things. Where, especially when we speak about endowment plans, where you're able to take a plan that will be able to help you meet a future need or a future goal. For instance, I want to travel the world. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a property. I'm able to take an endowment plan and set exactly how much I'll need to be able to acquire that property, contribute to this plan, and when the set time or when I hit the maturity period, I get a payout that helps me to be able to attain that very property. So I think it really comes in mind when we look at things like when people talk about death and debt. And I rightly said right from the beginning, life insurance isn't just about it.
Okay.
Okay, so when you think about death, then we are looking at the elderly. Or you look about your goals, we look about education, we look about accident plans and all of that. It doesn't really have to do with old age because it happens to people in the old.
Thank you. So this myth is actually something that a lot of us believe in. However, the question is, at the age of say 50, 60 and above, at that point, the reality of life stares you in the face. The good news is that not everyone is privileged to see whether we're going to hit 70 or 80. One who is, with the experiences we have in the business, most people who like to buy life insurance are people who have crossed their retirement age. At that point, they see that the next phase of life is departing. So I need to do something. But the sad thing is that at that age, life insurance becomes very expensive, can be terminal, faces you. And insurances is not a package to take care of all these things, but rather to give you the peace of mind and give you the assurance that if it so happens, not when it so happens. If your situation is when it happens, then savings and investments are good for you. But if it happens, it means you are not expecting it to come up. So a younger person buying a life insurance plan will pay probably about 10% of what somebody who is 60, 70 will be buying a life insurance for. As a young person, your risk exposures are quite less compared to an older person's health risk exposures. However, a younger person who is also very active has very hazardous pastimes or hobbies or hazardous occupation. This premiums that you'll be contributing will also be higher than a younger person who is into a clerical kind of job. So anyone in the administrative roles whose hobbies are quite not so much involved in risk exposed, they pay lesser premiums. So why won't we take advantage of buying a life insurance when we are young, where the premiums are so insignificant? It could be less than 5% or even 2% of your income at the end of the month. But the payout or the benefit that will be paid out will be huge. Classic example, in Ghana here, in the past few months, we have seen it happening where people who on a normal day we thought would not be involved in such an issue. I'm talking of the 8 people who just passed. These are people who are well-trained military personnel who on a normal day will all be safe behind, knowing very well that they are trained for combat situations. Yet, life events occurred. It was an accident, nobody expected it. The same way, some few months ago, we had young children traveling moved out to go and serve their God, to go and worship with their God. On their way back, something happened. And unfortunately, parents who on a normal day think that our children will not pass. A lot of parents believe that we don't need life insurance for our children. But this is a classic example that has just happened. And it's a wake up call to everybody. Once you have a child, you don't say, my children will not pass, or I will not pass at a young age. We could be 30, we could be 40, we could be in our 50s, and yet we have to pass on. And as I always say, it is cheaper when you're buying life insurance at a very young age. So why not take advantage of it before you grow old? Thank you.
What would be your last remark for everyone watching us right now?
What I would like to say is that life insurance is important.
Okay.
When you go for seminars, financial planning seminars, almost every seminar you attend, the first item when it comes to your financial planning on the list is always life insurance. That's how important life insurance is. Unfortunately, when you come to this part of the world, life insurance is the last thing we think about, yet it's the first thing we look for when the unexpected happens, surprisingly. So I think let that not be the narrative going forward after listening to this show. I think that should be the first thing on your list. Consider it will be the first thing you consider when unexpected happens. Let it be the first.
Okay. If there's something I want you to take away today from today's conversation, I really want to throw a challenge for you. I want you to have about 20 minutes of your time this week. Get a Glyco Life Insurance advisor who is going to take you through all the options that we have, and I'll choose from these options and plan well. Because from the conversations we've had today, small steps is going to get you a big relief tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today.